Professor, what are you doing here?
Waiting for you.
One was the final in this one, United States versus Venezuela, with the game-tying goal scored by Christian Pulisic. Here are the highlights from the 90 minutes tonight.
Well, in the first half, it was Venezuela who had the majority of the game. They had the best chances, and they got the first goal. Moreno and then Velasquez, second ball. Clint Dempsey's backpedaling, can't get enough power on the header. Moreno reacts first to beat DeAndre Yedlin to it. He puts it into dangerous area. Velasquez finished it off, and you see what it means to him, because they were, at that point, they were the better team. They were dictating the tempo. 33rd minute, it came out, it was a long way out. Moreno again with a dipping strike. Tim Howard having to shuffle across his goal, gets his feet set, makes a good save. And Tim Howard again off a set piece, it's flicked to the back post, his second ball. Michael Bradley can't get there. Tim Howard with a world-class save to shuffle across. Look at that save. Down strong to his right. And a little kiss off the post to go with it. 48th minute in the second half, the United States started to look a lot better. They were getting a lot of possession down the left-hand side. Clint Dempsey rose to meet across from Jorge Villanueva. Villafana went wide, and then in the 61st minute, the United States got the breakthrough that they were looking for, and it was Christian Pulisic. Good little move on top of the box. Such an exciting player to watch, knows how to find space, recognizes when to draw in a defender, and then the strike to go with it. Went through traffic, left-footed, and found the far post. Nothing Contreras could do. In the 80th minute, Bobby Wood couldn't quite control it. Jordan Morris trying to get on the end of it, using his speed, but Contreras came flying off his line to make the save. Jordan Morris was trying to put the United States in the lead, just couldn't quite connect.
So it's another big night for Christian Pulisic. How did the USA fare tonight in this 1-1 draw?
I think they got better. It was a slow start from them, and Bruce Arena talked at halftime about the tempo wasn't good enough. There wasn't enough cutting edge in the final third. And as I felt, yes, the substitutions do mix the game a little bit and that understanding, but Pulisic was the one who was dictating the tempo. Bobby Wood got more involved. Darlington Nagbe was starting to find those seams. And that's the thing that Bruce Arena will look at from that second half that will give him some comfort.
Tried a lot tonight. He said he was going to do that. New faces, different formations. What is your take on the overall team's performance?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had a slow start. We didn't come out with the right intensity like we should have. But as the game went on, I think we found a groove, and we're getting used to the altitude and things like that and getting accustomed to it. So we're looking a lot stronger, and we feel much more confident going into the next game.
Yeah, how confident are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I feel great personally, and I think the team really came together in that second half, and I think we're going to be looking really good against Trinidad and Mexico.
Okay, thanks for the time, Christian.
Thank you.
Guys.
Well, Pulisic is a young talent, obviously played on the under-20s, right? A lot of other talent on the under-20s. That game is coming up in a couple of hours' time, and before we analyze that a little bit, let's hear from the USA who are involved in the quarterfinals.
I think the team is getting stronger and stronger. I feel good about the fact that just about every player has played, so that gives us good experience going into the last few games. Hopefully it's more than one. And I think the team is feeling happy and ready to go.
We still have a lot left to prove, I think. I think we want to challenge for the championship. We feel we're one of the best teams left in this tournament, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to play our hardest every game.
It'll be a tough game, I think, for both. Obviously, Venezuela is, at this point in the World Cup, the team that's coming in with a perfect record. They won every game. They've scored the most goals. They've given up 0 goals. They haven't conceded yet. So there's no question it's going to be really difficult for us.
Well, Tab Ramos' team had to deal with a lot in this tournament. The injury at the start to Zelalem. Then he had players out with red cards, right? So when he says everybody's played, he had to play everybody, right?
It was almost as if he was selling Venezuela there as well. I mean, like you said, they haven't conceded a goal. They've been one of the most exciting teams in the tournament. But hey, Tab Ramos, your team's done pretty well as well, because 6-0 against New Zealand. Brooks Lennon, a player who's from Real Salt Lake right here. Justin Glad has been performing really well. Josh Sargent, who's been rumored to
4
sign
goals.
with Werder Bremen, will be playing potentially in the Bundesliga next season. He has 4 goals. Who leads up the United States. So this is a very exciting United States team. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup tonight. And if the United States can pull this off, they're picking up momentum at the right time, and you might just see them continue through this tournament.
They've only been to the semifinals one other time, trying to go for a second time, and they can do that. They can get to the semis if they win tonight. 1-1 is the final score here, thanks to Christian Pulisic. We'll be back.
I can shut down your power grids. I can paralyze your infrastructure. I can access the personal data of everyone in America. I am the enemy with no face, and I can't be stopped.
For every would-be cyber attack, there's a team of U.S. Army cyber warriors who will not be defeated. Find out more at goarmy.com/team.
Welcome back to the United States. It's Venezuela tonight, a 1-1 finish. And joining me now, Tim Howard, his 114th cap tonight, 3 saves this evening. And there was a lot made about this friendly as really the importance of a tune-up ahead of the World Cup qualifying matches, which we know are fast approaching. So, Tim, what do you make of the team's performance tonight? What did you see?
Well, you know, I feel like there's a little bit of experimentation, but Bruce Arena emphasized us every time we pull that shirt on. It means a lot. So we worked hard this week. We tried a few things, used a bunch of subs because we know we have 2 games coming up. But I thought it looked good. We were better in the second half. You know, on the goal we weren't great, but for the most part, you know, they'd sit in and make it difficult for us. But we need to use altitude, open them up, and score some goals, really. We got to get the 3 points. And then, of course, going down to Mexico is never easy, but a minimum of 1 point coming out of there, and we feel good about ourselves.
And let's talk a little bit about Azteca. It's going to be my first visit. You can tell me what to expect, but I know for you guys there's a lot that goes into it. So what is the most challenging aspect? I know it's the altitude, I know it's the fans, but what do you make from a team perspective?
You're going to enjoy it. You know, I certainly do. Well,
Tim Howard, and you have been doing a lot with the team. There's been a lot of specific protocols that the team has been going through. How does it affect you, and how do you think the guys have been responding to getting acclimated?
Well, you know, we've done everything we possibly can do physically to get acclimated. We've come up here to Salt Lake, and so we stayed up in Park City at 7,000 feet. So we feel good about how we're acclimatizing. Tonight was a good test for us. We'll do it again on Thursday, and then, you know, we've been living at altitude. So the idea is to.
So that was Tim Howard, looking a little bit more relaxed than he was during the game, right? He made 3 saves. That's all he was credited for, but there were 3 outstanding saves. It could have been a 2-0 deficit early on.
Yeah, 3 big saves. And in little moments as goalkeeper, you're not often counted upon, but when you are counted upon, and it is in those moments, the class shines through, and Tim Howard showed that again tonight. One thing that stuck out for me that Tim said there to Jenny was, we're going to use the altitude against Trinidad and Tobago. Now, you don't often hear United States now focus to Trinidad and Tobago. When the pressure's on, you need 3 points at home. Can you get it done? And I think U.S. fans will feel a little bit better after seeing that second half performance tonight.
Done with the friendlies. This one ended up as a 1-1 final between the USA and Venezuela. So with friendlies being out the window, now let's look ahead. U.S. has 2 big games coming up, and those 2 games will be on Thursday and Sunday of next week. Thursday versus Trinidad and Tobago, and then on Sunday, the big one at.
No one knows where it comes from. Why some have it and some don't. It's the fighting spirit. It consumes fear and weakness. It stands ready to fight whatever shape the battle takes. Because as long as there are battles, there will always be Marines.
Well, Tim Howard's night is never done, right? He plays well, makes 3 saves, does the post-game interview with Jenny Tapp. Now he's still signing autographs, trying to please everyone, right?
Man of the people.
He is a man of the people. He's 38, getting ready to play in another World Cup. So we've got World Cup qualifiers coming up, but we also did this at halftime. The Gold Cup squad was announced. It's just a preliminary list of 40 players. It included 6 goalkeepers. And when we show this to you, there was a surprise or 2, I would say, on this list, right?
There's certainly a couple surprises. One that sticks out, that glaring for me, which was Jesse Gonzalez at goalkeeper. He has represented Mexico at both the U20 and U23 level. He's been a part of that program. There was a report that came out this week that said he had committed to play for Mexico. Well, that has been refuted. I spoke to his agent before this roster was announced, and we knew he would be a part of it. And he said, if called up by the United States, which he's been included as part of the 40, and if he makes the final roster, he will accept the call-up, be a part of that Gold Cup roster, which would cap tie him if he plays, and would be a part of this U.S. roster going forward. Now, I think that's big news for a couple reasons, because Tim Howard, Brad Guzan, they're not getting younger, JP, and I haven't seen anybody that has emerged as that next star. I think Jesse Gonzalez could be that goalkeeper.
Midfielders are next. What do you see here?
One that we didn't talk about before, well, Christian Pulisic is in there, Bedoya, Areola, Michael Bradley, all regulars with this first team. But Kenny Saif, he holds an Israeli passport. And I understand after talking to a spokesperson from U.S. Soccer that they have submitted an application to do a one-time change with FIFA so he would be eligible to represent the United States. Now, that's fully underway. So I'd imagine if that process has been kicked in, we will see him as part of that Gold Cup roster.
And the long-time rumor about will Dom Dwyer get a call-up? Well, he's getting closer. He's on that 40-man list.
Well, speaking of changes, Dom Dwyer, who was born in the United Kingdom and has now become a United States citizen, he is eligible to represent our country. He will be a part of that 40-man roster. Whether he's a part of that 23, we will see. I think he will. He's been in good form for Sporting Kansas City. He's a proven goal scorer in MLS. And for him to get an opportunity firsthand under Bruce Arena in a national tournament, he'll have a big opportunity, JP.
That'll do it for us tonight. UFC is coming up next, so keep it right here. This one ended up in a 1-1 draw between the United States and Venezuela, with big goals coming, 1 in each half. It was Velasquez scoring in the 30th minute for Venezuela, and then Christian Pulisic, the 18-year-old star, coming through with his 5th career international goal. That came in the 62nd minute. Trinidad and Tobago is the next game coming up, and then the big one against Mexico. For Stu Holden, Jenny Taft, and our entire crew, I'm JP Della Camera. Good night, everyone.